What's up, it's Cinema Shogun here with some good news, with some great news. In fact, this is nothing short of a miracle. Some of you all might remember that about a month ago, a little over a month ago, I reported to you all about this plane crash that happened in Colombia. This plane went down right in the middle of the Amazon jungle. 7 people were on board. 3 adults, 4 kids. The 3 adults all died. Somehow, some way, the 4 kids survived. When authorities arrived at the area where the plane crashed, they quickly found the 3 bodies of the adults. But the kids who were supposed to be on board were nowhere to be found. Then they started finding evidence that these kids were in fact alive. They were finding little makeshift shelters, food and fruit that had been discarded and eaten, baby bottles, you name it. Well, a couple of weeks after searching for these kids, they announced that these kids had been found, when in reality they had not been found yet. This sent everyone through for an uproar. It really sent me through a whirlwind because I was thinking in my mind, like, how in hell can you announce that you found these kids when you really didn't? You know, it seemed to me like there may have been something weird going on there because you don't just report something that serious without knowing for sure that you actually have the kids. Well, they didn't have the kids. Come to find out, the kids supposedly had not been found yet. Well, I am here to tell you all today that these kids have been found. All 4 of them are still alive. They survived out in the Amazon jungle for about 40 days. Think about that. Really think about that. 4 kids. One of them is an 11-month-old baby. I believe the ages, if I'm not mistaken, were like 11, 9, 4, and 11 months old. Maybe I may be mistaken. I need to look into it again. It was 13, 9, 4, and 11 months old. So it's hard enough for anyone to survive out in the jungle. I don't think I could survive for 40 days in the jungle. I doubt the majority of you all could survive for 40 days in the jungle. These 4 kids did it. And you know, this 13-year-old, I can't imagine the stress that she had to be under trying to take care of her little siblings and trying to take care of a baby at that. In the middle of all of this madness, you have to think about the Amazon jungle. Think about the random animals and insects and you name it that these kids must have had to encounter. Imagine how scary that is. Imagine the weather. You know, I'm sure these kids were getting rained on. I'm sure it was hot, mosquitoes, bugs. Oh my God. I can't imagine what these kids went through. The fact that they are alive right now is a miracle. The fact that they survived out there is a miracle. And for all I know, maybe they could have lived out there forever at the rate they were going. They seemed to be doing a pretty good job of living on their own out in the middle of a jungle. But as I said, they have been found. I want to go ahead and dive into this article that gives us a little bit more information. But first, hit that thumbs up button. If you like this channel, you like the content I make, you know it's totally free to watch and it's totally free to support the channel by hitting the thumbs up, dropping a comment, and subscribing if you haven't already, because we are inching really close to 100K subscribers, and I thank you all for that. But let's go ahead and dive right into this article. 4 kids have been found alive after surviving a plane crash and spending weeks fending for themselves in Colombia's Amazon jungle. Colombia's president said the rescue of the siblings, ages 13, 9, 4, and 1, was a joy for the whole country. The children's mother and 2 pilots were killed when their light aircraft crashed in the jungle on May 1st. The missing kids became the focus of a huge rescue operation involving dozens of soldiers and local people. President Gustavo Petro said finding the group was a magical day, adding, "They were alone. They themselves achieved an example of total survival, which will remain in history forever." The children belong to the Hayototo indigenous group. Mr. Petro shared a photograph of several members of the military and indigenous community caring for the siblings who had been missing for 40 days. One of the rescuers held a bottle up to the mouth of the smallest child, while another fed one of the other kids from a mug with a spoon. A video shared by Colombia's Ministry of Defense showed the kids being lifted into a helicopter in the dark above the tall trees of the jungle. They have been flown to the nation's capital of Bogota, where ambulances have taken them to hospital for further medical treatment. The children's grandmother, Fatima Valencia, said after their rescue, "I am very grateful, and I am grateful to Mother Earth as well, that they were set free." She said that the eldest of the 4 siblings was used to looking after the other 3 when their mother was at work, and that this helped them survive in the jungle. She gave them flour and cassava bread, any fruit in the bush. They knew what they must consume. So luckily, these kids at least are, the 13-year-old, the oldest, had a little bit of knowledge about what fruits, they could consume and what fruits were poisonous. So that right there was, I assume, a lifesaver in itself. Now, the search effort that was put forth for these kids is unlike anything that I think I've ever seen before. And I would like if more search efforts went this way. I mean, at one point they were flying helicopters over the Amazon jungle, just pouring thousands and thousands of little pamphlets, little paper pamphlets all across the jungle with instructions on how to survive, with instructions to stay put so rescuers can find them. They were also dropping bundles of food in the jungle, hoping that the kids may find it. Now, as of right now, the details on how these kids were found, the details on what these kids may have went through while out there in the jungle, all of that remains unclear. We don't know about all of those details yet. When we do, I will report them to you all. As of right now, as far as I know, these kids have been taken to do medical tests on them. They look like they're hungry. I imagine anyone would be hungry and thirsty after being trapped in the jungle for 40 days, even if you find food to eat, even if you find water to drink. I'm sure, it's a blessing when actual food comes. You know what I mean? So these kids need to regain their strength. They're probably dehydrated, famished, you know what I mean? Emaciated. They look like they've probably lost weight out there. It's a miracle that any of these kids survived, but the fact that all 4 of them survived, it's insane to me that they were able to keep this baby alive out in the jungle. That's crazy as well. You know what I mean? I can't imagine what that had to have been like, keeping these children alive. And I got to be honest with you all. When initial reports came in that these kids must have survived the plane crash and that they were finding evidence that these kids were still alive, I was really hopeful. But after a month had passed, I was thinking that maybe the worst had happened. In my mind, I didn't think that this would be the outcome. I thought there was a possibility that maybe 1 or 2 of the kids survived or something, but all 4 kids being alive and for the most part healthy. I'm sure they have some problems, but they're here. This, like the president of Colombia said, this is a historical moment. They need to make a movie about these kids. And when it's all said and done, they need to sit that 13-year-old down and give her a medal. I want these kids to understand what it is that they really overcome. I don't want this to be a blip in their life, a blur in their life that they go on to forget about. I think these kids, even though they're kids and they may not be able to fully grasp it, I hope that they can come to the realization about what they overcame. Because this, like I said at the beginning of this video, it is nothing short of a miracle. Let me know your thoughts, though, down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all in the next video.